Okay, you probably saw that headline. Gold surges past $3,500. Maybe scrolled right past it thinking, Wall Street stuff. Not for me.
Uh-huh.
But hang on. This jump in gold, it could actually be flashing some important signals about the economy.
Yeah, the stuff that really matters day to day to your wallet.
Exactly. So our deep dive today, it's really about figuring out why gold is suddenly the hot ticket item.
And what that might mean for the bigger picture,
Yeah.
financially speaking. For you, we're digging into a recent analysis on this whole gold surge.
Right. So $3,500 an ounce, that's a big number. Why should someone just trying to pay the bills care?
Well, what's really interesting is what this price hike tells us about how investors are feeling. Gold's often called a financial safe haven.
Okay, a safe haven. What does that mean exactly?
It means when things feel uncertain, economically speaking, investors often pull their money out of things they see as riskier. Stocks, maybe.
Yeah.
And they park it in assets they think will hold their value better, like gold. So this rush suggests there's quite a bit of nervousness out there.
Nervousness about what, though? The report we looked at mentions worries about the U.S. economy specifically. What's driving that?
Yeah, the analysis points to a few things. There seems to be less confidence in traditional U.S. investments right now. Stocks, bonds, even the dollar.
Why less confidence?
Concerns about, well, central banks, for one. Can they really control inflation? Can they act independently? Plus, I mean, you're probably still feeling it, right? Prices for groceries, gas.
Oh, yeah. Definitely still feeling the pinch.
That lingering inflation that's a big part of the anxiety. It makes people question how stable things really are.
And the stock market hasn't exactly been smooth sailing recently either, has it? We've seen dips in the S&P 500, NASDAQ, Dow Jones.
Exactly. Those drops, they nudge us towards what finance folks call a technical correction.
Okay.
And it raises the possibility of something worse, a bear market that's like a 20% drop or more. Now, technically, we might not be fully in a bear market yet across all indexes. But these downward moves, they add to that shaky feeling.
Makes sense. It pushes people towards perceived safety.
Precisely. Like gold.
And this isn't just a U.S. issue, is it? The report mentions wider global economic worries, too.
Yeah, if you kind of zoom out, these U.S. concerns are part of a bigger global picture. The IMF, for example, has lowered its growth forecasts pretty much everywhere.
Mm.
Plus, you've still got ongoing trade issues, those supply chain problems we all remember.
Mm.
It all fuels fears of a global slowdown.
And that could eventually hit the price of, well, everything we buy.
Absolutely. It's all interconnected.
So, okay, gold is up massively this year, over 30%, right? While stocks are down. But interestingly, Bitcoin's also jumped way up past $90,000. People call it digital gold. What's that connection?
That's fascinating, isn't it? It suggests this isn't just about traditional gold. It seems like there's a broader search for assets seen as safe, or at least outside the conventional system.
So alternatives.
Yeah, alternatives to protect against that uncertainty we talked about. Whether it's physical gold or digital assets like Bitcoin, it points to a desire for, well, something different in a potentially rocky economy.
Got it. Now, you mentioned we're not officially in a bear market yet, according to the numbers. So why does it feel like everyone's acting like we are?
That's a really key point. It's about behavior versus definitions, even if the specific 20% threshold hasn't been hit everywhere.
Yeah.
The way investors are behaving, this flight to gold being a prime example, strongly suggests many are already bracing for impact. They're acting defensively.
So the feeling, the sentiment is already there.
Exactly. It's about the mood music in the market, not just the strict definitions.
Okay, so pulling this all together, what's the main takeaway for someone listening?
I think the big thing is this gold surge. It's not really just about gold prices making news. It's more like a symptom.
A symptom of?
A symptom of real underlying worries about where the economy is headed. It shows how major investors are shifting their strategies because of those concerns.
And whether we call it a bear market or not, those worries are real.
They are. And that's what's important for you, the listener, to be aware of.
Right. Because even if you don't own any gold, these big economic shifts, these trends, they can eventually ripple out, can't they? Affect things like job security, maybe the cost of living, the value of your savings down the line.
Absolutely. It all connects eventually, which leads to maybe a final thought to chew on.
Okay.
What does it really say about the economic climate right now when gold, this ancient metal, this traditional store of value, suddenly becomes one of the hottest, most dynamic assets around?
Good question.
Is this just a temporary blip, market noise, or is it maybe hinting at more fundamental changes happening under the surface? Something to think about.